I want to thank President Kathy Young, the Board of Managers and Trustees, faculty, staff, and students. It is truly an honor to be here. I live not too far away from here. I'm in Delaware, but I actually grew up in South Louisiana. And as you can imagine, it gets very hot in South Louisiana. So one of my favorite things to do in the summer was to go swimming at the community pool. And at this community pool, there was a high dive, really tall high dive. And every time I'd go swimming, I would watch these kids scurry up the ladder and dash across the board, and some of them did a swan dive and backflips, and some of them just jumped. And I was so jealous of these kids because they looked so brave and unafraid, and I was terrified of that high dive. So every time I went to the pool, it would just haunt me, just towering, just like haunting me. So one day, I decide to get out of the pool. I walk over to the high dive. My heart's thundering in my chest. I'm leaving little wet footprints on the tile. I get to the ladder. I climb up. I walk down to the platform, and I'm standing at the edge of the precipice, and I'm looking down, and the water looks further away than I could have ever imagined. It is absolutely terrifying. I think about moments like this a lot because I write for children. So when you write for children, obviously you have to reflect back on your own childhood memories. And one common question I get when I'm interviewed is, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what would you say? So I think about this 10-year-old Erin standing at the edge of this diving board, and I wonder what I would tell her. And I think what I would say is this. I know you're scared. I know sometimes you feel like you're not enough. I know sometimes you wish you were braver, smarter, better. But no matter what happens now, you have already proven yourself triumphant. There are many people who stay in the safe water of the pool, where it's comfortable, where they know what to expect. They never venture out, but they only swim in circles. But you got out. You walked to the ladder. You climbed it. You walked across, which means that even in your darkest moments, even at your lowest point, there is something, a thought tucked inside in the corner of your brain, and the thought is, I can do this. Whatever this may be, because if it wasn't there, you wouldn't be here in the first place. Now, a few years ago, Cornell University did a study on regret. They wanted to know what people regretted in their lives. So they talked to people who were in late adulthood, and they asked them what were their biggest regrets. They collected all these responses, and they separated their responses into regrets of the ideal self and regrets of the ought self, O-U-G-H-T, ought self. The ideal self is the person that you imagined yourself to be when you were younger. All the dreams you had, all the things you wanted to do with your life, that was the ideal self. The ought self is the person who did what was comfortable or what was expected of them or what other people wanted them to do. And they found, unsurprisingly, that the vast majority of regrets were regrets of the ideal self. In fact, 76% of people said their single biggest regret was not following their dreams. Honor your dreams. There will be many triumphs along the way. Some will be big and obvious, like graduating from college, getting the job you wanted, having a show, getting a book deal. But some will be so small that you may not even notice them. Try to see them all. So, I don't want to leave you with a cliffhanger. You might be wondering, what did I do when I was at the edge of this diving board, right? Okay. So as far as I could tell, I had three options. Option one, turn around, go back down the ladder, and pretend it never happened, okay? Option two, scream until someone comes up there and rescues me. And then option three, obviously, jump off the diving board. So what did I do? Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted to choose option 1. Okay, so I turned around and I was going to walk back down the diving board, but there were a bunch of kids hanging off the ladder waiting to go their turn, even though the pool rules specifically stated that you are not supposed to do that, okay? So I saw them all hanging out on the ladder, and I said, okay, well, I turned back around, I looked down, I took a deep, deep breath, I closed my eyes, I pinched my nose, and I jumped. Thank you. Okay, it was absolutely terrifying. And I never went on the high dive again, but I also never gave it a second thought again after that. So, if you take anything away from this small amount of time that we're going to spend together, I want you to take this and put it in your pocket, okay? The world is full of critics, and we are often our worst critics. Be kind to yourself. Be a friend to yourself. Your work is needed. You are needed. Celebrate this victory and all the victories to come. Congratulations.